And I was in Dubai, and God spoke to me, and he said, you need to get a hold of your health or you won't finish well. And I said, but Father, I will not diet. Diets never work for my friends and my family. It won't work for me. I don't know what to do. And he said, you have an assignment in your life, and I want you to close it well, and you won't the way you're going. Thankfully, I didn't have diabetes or anything like that, but still, I was heading down the wrong path.
Hello and welcome back to Adventures in One Love. I'm your host, Lydia, and I am joined by Leanne Goff from Leanne Goff Ministries, the Transformational Coach. I hope that you were able to check out our first interview where she talks about sonship, how we are not servants, we are sons and daughters. So please check it out. Really blesses me. Leanne, thank you for spending time with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
This has been so fun. I wanted to really let our audience and let people know the process that God has had you in. And I love your title, through Charisma, the Transformational Coach. Give us a brief recap of what that's looked like, the transformation that God has had you in.
Well, as I shared in the last segment, in October 2003, I was transformed by God's love. I knew how to travel nations, how to evangelize, how to, do a lot of things. But I didn't know how to just be a little girl with a big dad and let his love just lead me. And so that was a major transformation in my life. And then what brought about for me to be the transformational coach now is that I literally never had an issue with weight. I was always lean even after our two children. But June 22nd, 2010, I had what I call the dark night of my soul. My adrenal glands flatlined, they crashed. And I got very, very sick. And in fact, in one of my books here, Christian Life Without Father God, I have a segment in there, the day my body crashed. I got very sick. I'm used to going to Pakistan and Cuba. In fact, last month was 18 years. I've been to Cuba over 55 times in 18 years. Of course, I would be probably about 60 if it wasn't for COVID the last year and a half plus, but that has shut things down. Hoping to go back soon. And so in June 22nd, 2010, my adrenal glands crashed. I got very, very sick, almost died. And as a result of that, your adrenal glands produce your hormones and your cortisol. So because of that crash, my hormones got all whacked out, and I started putting on weight that I never had before. So actually, I was pastoring up in Ohio about August 2014, and fast forward a couple of years, and I was putting on weight. Just putting on weight. And I was in Cuba ministering about 5 years ago, and someone took a profile picture of me. I knew things weren't good. I was popping 2 Tums every night before bed, like they were candy. I was on joint pain medication. I was pushing a size 14. I was used to a size 8. And somebody took a profile picture of me in a dress, and I saw it a few days later, and I looked 6 months pregnant. I'm like, whoa, I knew things weren't good, but that picture ain't good at all. And so then fast forward a few more months, and it was actually May 2017. I was on my way to Pakistan to minister, and I was in Dubai, and God spoke to me, and he said, you need to get a hold of your health or you won't finish well. And I said, but Father, I will not diet. Diets never work for my friends and my family. It won't work for me. I don't know what to do. And he said, you have an assignment in your life, and I want you to close it well, and you won't the way you're going. Thankfully, I didn't have diabetes or anything like that, but still, I was heading down the wrong path. And so I didn't know what to do. That was in May 2017. June 2017, I started seeing some friends of ours at a church up in Iowa that I'd known for years, helped disciple, a lot of them, not just 1 or 2, a lot of them. They've been conferences with me, they've traveled the nations with me, and I'm seeing them post these incredible pictures on Facebook. I'm like, what in the world is Steve and TJ and Roger and Vicky and all these people doing? So I actually flew in July 2017 from Ohio to Iowa, sat in a coffee shop with some of these people, and I looked across the table, and we were talking about ministry, and at the end I said, I don't know what you're doing, but I want to look like you. I didn't say I wanted to diet. They had dropped 40-something pounds, 82 pounds, all this, and they were glowing. It wasn't like they were surviving some diet. They were glowing. I said, I want to look like you. What do I need to do? And so they told me about this health program. In the same setting, I said, and I don't know what it is to coach with you, but all my friends and family need to look like you. Now, I had a lot of plates on my table at the time. I was a lead pastor of an amazing church in Ohio that is thriving. It was not then, but it's thriving now. Went in and shifted the culture, and and is thriving. I was a law enforcement chaplain for 13 divisions in our county in Ohio, working for the Ohio Attorney General. I'm an author, speaker, mother, grandmother, I help oversee 350 churches in Cuba and our network there, Kingdom in Action Family. Traveling the nations, lots and lots of plates on my table. Did not have the bandwidth for a business. But yay, God. And so I said, I did it because I want to look like my friends, and everybody needed to look like them. They looked insanely awesome. And as women especially, we all want to look good. And so I started my health journey July 14, 2017. I lost 35 pounds in 3.5 months. I have kept it off 4 years later because our program actually doesn't teach you just we're not a diet. I'm not a diet coach. I'm a health coach. And the result of it, you lose weight, you get off CPAP machines, you're potentially getting off medications, feeling better, getting smaller clothes. I mean, just huge amount of blessings. And so have kept the weight off 4 years now because we teach people not just to lose it, but how to keep it off once you have lost it. And then people started going, Pastor, you look great. What are you doing? Pastor, you look awesome. What are you doing? I said, well, I feel great. I feel awesome. Okay, what are you doing, Pastor? And the business, as well as social media, just started taking off. And before I knew it, this business was rapidly growing, and more than I ever thought. And within a year and a half, my husband and I raised up a team after 5.5 years at the church in Ohio. I said, in fact, my spiritual son, who is from Cuba, Josue Santiago, he is the lead pastor there, associate pastor with me for a while, and now lead pastor, or senior pastor. And so I was able to hand off the church to him, the elders, the administrative staff I had raised up in 5.5 years, say, you guys got this, I'm still mom. I'm transitioning to Nashville to be close to our kids. And so we did. And the business just kept growing and growing to the point where I can't say within 2.5 years, the business, because I'll say this, our business grew 200% in 2020.
Wow.
And so it has massively grown. And but it's almost like my church, another church. Like people are walking through the doors, our business will not walk through the doors of a church. And I have so many testimonies of that. It's insanely awesome. I love it. And we are actually on a mission to get the world, America and the world healthy. So now, 4 years later, we have over 1,600 coaches in our organization, Team Goff. We've impacted about 24,000 people's lives. People are just thriving. I mean, it's just amazing. We call ourselves hope dealers, to be honest with you. So as a result of that, in April, I was out in Pasadena, California, at an event, and lo and behold, this guy I'm talking to in the hallway asking me questions the last day. I have no idea who the guy is. And he's saying, so why are you here? And how'd you meet Cheon? And da-da-da-da-da. And I'm telling him, and he's like, I want to do your story. I'm with Charisma Media, and I want to do your story. And I'm like, what? I'm just out here at a conference. And so they brought me down the end of April, into here in Orlando, and interviewed me, did a podcast. And they're basically like, we don't know anybody's doing what, we don't know very many ministers that's doing what you're doing, that you went from a missionary to a millionaire. Like you are a preacher and you're prospering, that you're an evangelist and an entrepreneur. That world is so foreign to most believers and pastors and ministers. And so that's really, we've rebranded me as the transformational coach. And so it's in spirit, soul, body, and finances. And so actually I just help people get healthy in their spirit and their soul as a pastor and a minister for many, many years. The last 4 years, helping them get healthy in their body as a certified health coach. And now I'm helping people get healthy in their finances because, Lydia, statistics show 41% of millennials will have to pay to bury their parents because there's no money. And that's in the church as well. And it also says that you would leave an inheritance to your children, children's 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 children. Well, that's not talked about in the Bible, in the church today. We don't talk about where Jesus said, I desire you to be healthy in spirit, soul, and body. We talk about the body of Christ, but we ain't talking about this thing here. We're not talking about leaving an inheritance, So that's where I've been branded over the last several months, a transformational coach, and that's actually how I'm branded in my own ministry now. But in Charisma, I do a weekly podcast for Charisma, the transformational coach, as well as 2 articles a month. So that's a lot of information, but that's how that happened that quick.